here's what I don't trust. I don't trust everybody's favorite Anthony Edwards. I think he's a year away. Now, the Suns matchup, they're a nightmare for this Minnesota team. The one team where they can just take those, 2-point jumpers, the 17-foot jumpers, and continue just to slice and dice them. The Suns swept the series, won 3 by double digits, big guy. Edwards in 3 games against the Suns this year had 43 points combined. Here's the bottom line. It comes down to KD and free throws. Minnesota gets to the free throw line. Phoenix doesn't foul. Minnesota fouls, and Phoenix leads the league in free throw rate. It's going to come down to free throws and Kevin Durant. Plus 190 to go 7. Phoenix in 7 is 6-1. That's the answer. Samich is next.
The 82-game preseason is in the books, and it's finally time for the real season. Don't miss out on any of the NBA playoff action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code VEGAS. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/bball for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
Lamar Jackson added a second MVP trophy to the shelf this past offseason. But
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio. The Guardians got by the Red Sox 5-4 at Fenway Park on Thursday. The Guardians went up 5-1 in the top of the 6th. They were able to hold on after Boston scored 3 times in the bottom half of the inning. 5 strikeouts for Carlos Carrasco, 2 runs on 4 hits over 5 2/3. Emmanuel Clase struck out 1 in the 9th for the save. The Rangers beat the Tigers 9-7. Leo Taveras scored the go-ahead run on a fielder's choice in the 8th. Shelby Miller tagged with the loss. The Reds had Thursday off and open up a series against the Angels today. NBA playoffs tomorrow. The Cavaliers open up at home against the Orlando Magic. It's a 1 Eastern start time in Cleveland. Cleveland has the 4th seed in the East, Orlando the 5th. It's the second time the teams have met in the playoffs. The last time was 2009. Orlando won that series in 6 games. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
I love springtime, the sunshine, the longer days, but I don't love stressing about outfits for all of our plans. Between brunches, showers, and spring break, we need looks that keep up and savings that keep it under budget. That's where Kohl's comes in. I scored 25% off dresses for myself, and with the 15% off going on, I got my daughter a dress for under $22, plus iron Kohl's cash. So if you want a stress-free spring too, shop at Kohl's. Select styles, some exclusions apply. Women's dresses, coupons do not apply. Offers end April 21st. See store or Kohls.com for details.
The good folks at Wendy's have a revolutionary new product for you. Introducing the new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. It's like a time machine that takes you all the way back to now, the year 2024. It's the classic, creamy, orangey flavor you remember. Dare I say, it's new-timey. It's the flavor you grew up with, just all grown up. Head over to your local Wendy's establishment and get yours while supplies last. The new Orange Dreamsicle Frosty. Here for the now, for now.
Limited time only at participating Wendy's.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
Progressive presents the Sports Flash on Western Reserve Radio. The Rangers beat the Tigers 9-7. Leo Tavares scored the go-ahead run on a fielder's choice in the 8th. Shelby Miller tagged with the loss. The Guardians got by the Red Sox 5-4 at Fenway Park on Thursday. The Guardians went up 5-1 in the top of the 6th. They were able to hold on after Boston scored 3 times in the bottom half of the inning. 5 strikeouts for Carlos Carrasco, 2 runs on 4 hits over 5 2/3. Emmanuel Clase struck out 1 in the 9th for the save. The Reds had Thursday off and open up a series against the Angels today. NBA playoffs tomorrow. The Cavaliers open up at home against the Orlando Magic. It's a 1 Eastern start time in Cleveland. Cleveland has the 4th seed in the East, Orlando the 5th. It's the second time the teams have met in the playoffs. The last time was 2009. Orlando won that series in 6 games. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the Sports Flash. Chuck Sanders, Western Reserve Radio.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts. Until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchise or SPP LLC.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Posters, flyers, signs, and menus for less? Think Staples. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. Now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Same-day service available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. And all backed by Staples' Print Perfect guarantee. So it's done right or it's printed again free. Staples, your local print and marketing expert. N61, visit staples.com/print for details.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hello, Phantom fans, and welcome to Season 6, Episode 27 of the Dump and Chase podcast. My name is Sam Olmstead, and joining me, as always, is Dan Conley and the returning Justin Irwin. Justin, I see all that electricity around you. It looks good on you.
Yeah. About a day ago in Amish. I had to shave today, too, You
just fill up the old wash tub out back, or?
Yeah. Still wearing all black, but
I think you shaved a little bit too close, Justin.
Yeah. Stop like at the cheekbones. You went like way up and over there.
Yeah. No, nature did that.
So I'm not the only one that's sleep deprived, right?
No, I was falling asleep in a meeting today. I'm lucky I didn't snore.
I took a nap today that ended up being a slumber. So yeah.
I tried to take a nap, but between phone calls and my dog just wasn't working out for me. That's what we condition ourselves for like these like 3-day weekends, but like 3 games on like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday
throws off the whole week. I don't know what day it is.
My alarm clock went off this morning and I didn't know what planet I was on.
And I know, and I know somebody will say, "Oh, well, the team had to go out and play 3 games. You just had to sit and watch." And it's like, all right, when all those guys are, in and around their 40s, let them try to play 3 games in a row and see how it goes.
Right?
they won't make it to game 2.
Now you got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
Yeah.
It was very hard for us to watch them play all 3 games. I'm worn out. I don't know.
It was a wide range of emotions from beginning to end.
It was.
Indeed.
And all that talk about how close the games were in the regular season, we witnessed 3 blowouts from the score-wise. 10 goals combined for the winners there.
Yeah.
Goal differential.
Yeah, so as far as... And we'll get into this just as far as the rest of the playoffs, we'll get into it a tiny bit more later. So as far as the first round matchups, we'll start out west. Lincoln knocking off Waterloo 2-0. Lincoln will be taking on Sioux City, although apparently the Circus is coming to town in Sioux City, so the first 2 games are actually going to be played in Lincoln. Tri-City knocking off Sioux Falls 2-1. They will get Fargo in the second round. And then moving over to the east, Green Bay getting the overtime win on Wednesday night over Chicago. So winning that series 2-1. They will be traveling to Muskegon. And of course, what this episode will be about, Youngstown knocking off Madison 2-1. And for our prize, we get the Dubuque Fighting Saints.
Yay.
Yay.
If you want to win, you're going to have to beat them eventually. So
yeah. So just overall impressions of the last 3 games. I know we're going to get a lot more in depth, especially in the next segment. Just kind of your overall from these 3 games.
I mean, me personally, I thought aside from like the 12 minutes of the second period in game 1, I thought the Phantoms played pretty well. Obviously, I don't think they really played a perfect game all weekend, but I think they showed that when all things are clicking offensively, they can score a lot of goals.
And considering the quick turnaround of the first round series from the regular season, just the amount of energy we had there to finish them off, I'm a little impressed there.
Yeah, I think that extra day of rest that when we finished up the regular season against the 17s, we rested about half the team. I think that really worked out well considering we had to play 3 games of highly contested, energy draining games.
Coach Ward talked a lot about, in the post-game press conferences, talked a lot about gaining experience and everything else. So you're talking about a game 1 where, a lot of these guys hadn't played a playoff game before. So kind of their first, their introduction to, playoff hockey. I would argue the game on Tuesday, game 2, was probably their best overall game played of the 3, and then, they get off to the hot start on Wednesday in game 3, and then go into that third period. Now they're in the scenario of you're playing a team that basically they're as desperate as you can get. And this, you can't simulate game speed. You can't simulate that scenario. No. You just have to play through it. You have a Madison team that is desperate to do whatever they can to try to get back into it because they have 20 minutes or their season's over.
Yeah, you just have to match their desperation. You have 20 minutes to finish them off or your season is over.
No, I also think the Phantoms drew on experience throughout the regular season where they had leads late in the game and teams came back on them and put them under the gun. I think those moments like that is really gave the team something to draw on for knowing what they had to do going forward in the games.
All right, so coming up in this episode, of course, we'll have the more fleshed out recap with the Madison series, previewing the round 2 series with Dubuque that's coming up. And for this episode's edition of Phantom Files, we will be welcoming Phantoms assistant coach Brandon Gotkin back to the show. So with that, we're going to take a short break. The round 1 recap is coming up next with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We're back with the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio. So this past Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the Phantoms and the Madison Capitals round 1 of the USHL Clark Cup playoffs. And of course, Youngstown coming out of this series, getting a 2-1 win in the series. 3 games to talk about here, so we're going to try to plow through the best we can. Starting with game 1 on Monday, this was a 7-4 loss for the Phantoms, going down 1-0 in this going down 0-1 in this series. Starting out in the first period, only 2 goals. Sam Rinaldo kicking off the scoring with his first of the playoffs. Madison would get a goal. I'm not giving their names. I don't care.
Nobody cares.
Going into the second period, with the game tied at 1, Connor DeHaro getting his first goal of the playoffs at the 5:13 mark, giving Youngstown a 2-1 lead. Madison would pick up 2 goals within the next 3 to 4 minutes. So they would go up 3-2. Youngstown would tie the game at 3. Grant Young on the power play with a nice little goal by him, I got to say. Madison would then follow that up 13 seconds later to retake the lead at 4-3. Then they would pick up another 2 goals that were 12 seconds apart there towards the end of the second period. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are up 6-3 at the end of the second period. Going into the third period, Andrew Strathman picking up a power play goal, getting Youngstown back to within 6-4. That would be as close as they would get. Madison would pick up an empty net goal there at the end of the third period and giving them the 7-4 win. You have, young players. This is their first bit of playoff experience. And I don't want to say this was a bad game by the Phantoms by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely some jitters going into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like the first period here, Phantoms had all the momentum. They outshot the Capitals 12-4. Youngstown made one mistake in the first period, and Madison made them pay for it. Fast forward to the second period here, though, it was so weird. Some of these goals were happening so fast, you really didn't have time to collect your thoughts on it. And it was really only 12 minutes in the second period where Madison just did whatever they wanted on the ice. And if anybody watches the Phantoms recap on YouTube, when it goes between the 5th and 6th goal that Phantom Madison scored, they just kept the camera rolling.
Yeah.
They didn't reset and redo anything because it happened so fast. And when things like that happen, all you can do is just try to weather the storm. And whenever you come out of it, you come out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, it was just that brief period of time, and I think it's just kind of a whiplash effect for the Phantoms. And fortunately for us, once you get past that and kind of hit that mental delete button going forward, I think that was just kind of forgotten about and for the better.
Yeah. The goal Sam Rinaldo scored, the open play up, I thought that was a heck of a goal. I was like, that's got to be the goal of the weekend. Until the
falling down.
Oh, yeah. Toe drags. Yeah, that was such a nice looking goal.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Aiden Wright taking the loss in this game. Only played the first 2 periods, stopping 10 of 16 shots. Colin Wynn coming in relief. As always, good to see Colin. I mean, certainly not the situation you want to see him in, but it was nice to see him back on Cavelli center ice again. He stopped 8 out of 8 in the third period. All right, so regroup, regather, move on to game 2 on Tuesday. And the Phantoms did that and then some. This was a 5-2 win for the Phantoms. Starting off in the first period, Madison picking up 2 goals, both of those goals on the power play. So Madison going into the first intermission with a 2-0 lead. That would be it for the scoring. Aiden Wright would pretty much shut it down from there. Starting off in the second period, 2:51 in, Mikey Burchell getting his first of the playoffs, followed up by Nathan Lewis on the power play, and then Adam Pantilla, who definitely would not be done with his scoring, picking up his first, giving Youngstown a 3-2 lead going into the third period. And then the third period was basically the Adam Pantilla show. Get it, picking up the Natty Hattie there, getting the 3 Phantoms goals in a row, basically bookending this period. Getting his second goal at the 1:02 mark of the third period, and then getting the empty netter at 18:23 of the third. So he gets the hat trick. I don't know if people just didn't realize it was a hat trick, because I think I saw one hat and a wig.
You're right.
I think I saw that wig on the ice a few times.
Yeah.
In all fairness, there were a couple of times I might have thrown my hat this weekend, but since I splurged and bought myself a generator last week, I couldn't afford a new hat.
I wore my favorite
and
hat.
I refused to ask for my hat back.
Apparently, there was some wig retrieval going on, because we did see that wig make an appearance on the ice the next night.
You're absolutely right on that. And I agree. I wore my favorite hat. I wasn't going to. During the time, I'm always like, I need to throw it on the ice. And then after the moment passes, a minute later, I'm like, I'm glad it's still on my head.
And we know who the wig belonged to, and I hope they're very happy that this is all being talked about right now. Yeah, so of course, Adam Pantilla getting the hat trick. I would say, and I think this was kind of the general consensus, probably Aiden Wright's best game of the week, of this series. Stopping 15 out of 17. Wasn't really tested a lot. But again, there's a couple flurries, and a couple different times he really had to make some big time saves. Again, just a little fluttery in that first period, and then just locked it down after that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously Madison wants to close it out there. So, and when they got that 2-goal lead, I think they really, really, were feeling it. And I think Aiden was a very big part of yanking that right out from under him.
Yeah. I think Burchell scored the first goal for the Phantoms, but I think that goal happened because of Sam Rinaldo's hustle.
Mm-hmm.
He made it down there, battled for the puck, won it, and fed it to Birchie right in front of the net. And this is actually building off of Adam Pantilla getting his second hat trick of the year. This is also his second Natty Hattie, because he scored one the opening weekend at the Kimberly Center against Team USA.
And whatever gives us the reason to be able to use the phrase Natty Hattie, I'm all for.
So my kids kept saying it on the ride home.
With the Phantoms getting this win, ties the series up at 1-1. So we move on to game 3. And I guess it should also be noted that was the first time Youngstown had beat Madison in a playoff game in team history.
I didn't realize that until you mentioned it. We know where you got it from.
Yeah. I implore people before these games, because he puts a ton of work into them. Voice of the Phantoms, Matt Lipsack. If you follow him on Twitter, he puts the game notes out, a few hours before the game starts. He puts out the game notes. It has a lot of information, a lot of stats. Last time this happened, last time that happened, notes on the series players and everything. I mean, there's a ton of information in these game notes. So, I mean, I implore people, if you have not gone and sought these things out yet, I highly recommend that you do it, because there's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah, and Lipper actually put it in the Phantoms fan page.
Yeah.
He put them in. I think that's a lot of people the first time seeing that information.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's a lot of people who like numbers and that kind of stuff that we're happy to be able to read that.
Now, with the Phantoms' poor record of losing the first game of a 3-game series, and when the Phantoms' record when they're facing elimination, we did have some fun with them. There was a lot of doom and gloom going on in those notes. You could almost hear the Darth Vader theme, or Claire de Lune playing in the background while reading these things. He didn't think it was very doom and gloom, but yeah, we gave it to him a little bit for that, but always appreciative. And like I said, he puts a ton of work into those game notes. So when you get the chance, make sure you're checking those out. So moving on to the game on Wednesday, that is game 3. And thankfully, the Phantoms are moving on, getting the win 8-4. Kicking it off in the first period, Ryan Rusinski, just a beautiful goal. I mean, you want to talk about hand-eye coordination. I think for Zombieland fans out there, I think this was a 3-tapper.
I mean, Ryan is better known for hard hat and lunch pail.
Yeah.
Seeing him pull something off like that really, really got you fired up.
It was like collecting the rebound, getting the puck back down to the ice. There was 2 swats there, and then gathering the puck to wrap it around the post. And that's one of those ones that's right in front of us. We have a bird's eye view of that one. There was some serious hand-eye coordination going on there. So Ryan Rusinski picking up his first of the playoffs, being followed up 2 minutes later by Kuzma Voronin getting his first of the playoffs. And then follow that up just not even a minute later, Ryan Rusinski picking up his second of the game. Like we said, there was another hat trick in this game. So Ryan Rusinski showed up to play. The kid ate his Wheaties Wednesday morning because he came ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I mean, we know him more as a hard hat and lunch pail type of guy, better known for grinding, and he was putting on an offensive clinic out there.
But at the same time, he's somebody that as this season has gone on, we're seeing the offensive skill that we heard so much about in main camp.
Yeah, I mean, he was highly touted, and yeah, we have seen spurts, maybe, but this is where it's starting to click.
Yeah. All right, so Phantoms go into the first intermission with a 3-0 lead. With about a little over 5 minutes left in the second period, Madison would finally get on the board, pulling to within 2 goals. And then with 52 seconds left in the period, Brecken Smith picking up his first playoff goal, giving Youngstown a 4-1 lead. And just the PTSD of Youngstown fans and 3-goal leads.
Right. And did you guys, that goal that Brecken Smith scored there, that was almost a carbon copy of the goal he scored against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Where he took it right to left and put it through the 5.
Yeah.
Just, split the D and just took it right through. Yeah, it was a nice little goal by him. So going into the third period, a little bit of puckering going on for sure. I believe those were Coach Ward's. That was his quote after the game. A little bit of puckering going on, maybe. Madison, by the time we were 2 minutes into the period, had picked up 2 goals, got the game back within 4-3, so down by 1. And then just a minute after that goal, and this is, kind of where that senior leadership comes in. Torrey Pittner picking up a goal, putting Youngstown back up 5-3. And then about 4.5, 5 minutes later, Connor DeHaro picking up his second. How many goals did Connor have during the regular season?
Yeah,
2, I think.
Yeah. Two goals in the playoffs so far for Connor DeHaro. Madison would pick up one more after that, and then Youngstown basically just ran away with it. Ryan Rusinski picking up his third goal. He gets the hat trick. Quite a few more hats on the ice this time around, and a wig.
Yeah.
That bore a striking resemblance to the wig the night before. And then Tomasz Maciu with about 3.5 left and just kind of a desperation. Madison on the power play, pulling the goaltender for a 6-on-4. Right at that had to have been 5 seconds after they pulled the goaltender.
It was.
Maciu intercepts that pass at center ice and buries it. So an empty net shorthanded goal for Tomasz Maciu. And that would be all she wrote. Youngstown gets the 8-4 win. And
I don't think Musser had actually sat down, settled in there on the bench, and that was in the back of the net. So
yeah, that took no time at all.
Yeah, you figured Maciu's had so many just come within an inch or two of being put in the empty net like that. He was bound to get one, and glad he did.
Yeah, well deserved.
And this was the phrase I kept yelling out loud over and over again as this game went on, was secondary scoring.
Yep. That's what I was going to talk about too.
You look at the goal scorers in this game: Ryan Rusinski, Kuzma Voronin, Torrey Pittner, Connor DeHaro, Tomasz Maciu. These are not guys. I mean, Tomasz just got his first goal of the season like a couple weeks ago, and he picks one up. Picks one up here, and so now it's not the Botterells or the Patillas or whatnot, the guys that you expect to score goals all the time, more of these kind of role player guys, that they were the ones that stepped up in game 3 and were scoring just these massive goals as this game went on to give the Phantoms the win.
Yeah, if you'd have said in the series how many goals the Phantoms scored, and our top line of Botterill, Lewis, and Serrato had 1 total for the 3 games, that just shows how deep this team is and how much, through all the trials and tribulations that they ran through the year, how much that experience was valuable to this team when the playoffs started, that everyone was able to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look, at both teams, but, the Phantoms there at the end, I don't think I've ever seen a team put up 8 in a playoff game.
Right.
Now, but at the same time, Ryan Botterill, 3 assists in this game.
Yeah.
His assist on the DeHaro goal, where basically he carried the puck into the zone. The Phantoms were changing behind him, so he was just trying to hold possession for as long as possible. I think 3 or 4 Capitals kind of took a run at him, and he was able to maintain possession, and then was able to slide that puck over to DeHaro as he was coming into the zone.
Just like his pass to Pittner.
Yeah.
Oh man, that goal that Pittner scored. That was, Madison had all the momentum, everything going, and then they puts that puck in the back of the net, and it was like, finally, we put a stop to that.
And when he got it over to DeHaro, just the expression on DeHaro's face was just, wow.
I have never been this wide open before, because 4 Capitals are chasing Botterill.
Yeah. You could just see it on his face, like, I have to bury this, and he did.
Yeah, and I know I mentioned that he didn't score any goals in the series, but man, Madison really keyed in on him. But at the same time, that's also some of the best hockey I've seen Botterill play all season.
Yeah,
he was all over the ice. It was fun to watch.
And then we go back to something that was really prevalent at the beginning of the season, and then kind of went away for a while. Scoring from the blue liners. And Justin, I know this was something you were huge on at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and it kind of trailed off there.
Yeah, Phantoms defensemen in this series, 5 goals, 6 assists.
Yeah, and we were very successful at the beginning of the season. I think other teams watch tape.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they're watching for that. So I think Madison lost track of that.
Yeah, we were also able to get bodies in front of the net too to screen the goalie as well on those blue line goals. And last thing I'll say about this game is that goal that Kuzma Voronin scored, that backhander, what a slick goal. Like I said, I thought Ronaldo was going to have the goal of the weekend until Kuzma did that. Wow.
I don't think Musser saw that until it was probably by his ear.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, it's a backhand and such a tight move that I just don't think he was expecting that. And when that puck comes flying past him, I think he was stunned and amazed.
Yep. That makes all of us.
And something I'd like to mention here, we talk about the doom and gloom after game 1, and then we go down 2-0 the first period of game 2. You want to talk about excitement and that spark. Sam knows this better than anybody. One of my traditions is, I have a gyro during first intermission. So I'm sitting there eating my gyro as that goal is scored. I swallowed my tongue piercing. It came loose. I swallowed it. That's the best. As best as I could figure, because it's gone. And I'm like, wait, hold on. I got the bottom bead. What the hell? I'm like, oh, well, screw it. It'll pass.
Has it reemerged yet?
Not really sure. I'm not looking for it. It ain't going back yet.
Like a clink.
I've been saving that, waiting to see your guys' reaction, and it's been worth it. If it pierces, it causes internal damage, it was worth it to see this reaction.
It goes clink.
No, the bottom bead that came out was what went clink, and I went, what? Oh well.
No. We're saying when you pass the other part.
Oh, no, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not checking for it. Whatever.
Rubber gloves sifting through. You're not going to do it.
No.
Hey, Justin, if we can get that purple wig back after that trick, you can get that other happy.
All right. On that note, So, so that will do it for the round one recap and whatever problems Justin's going to have in the next couple days.
As long as they can sew me up inside to get me into the game on Tuesday and Wednesday if necessary.
All right, so after the break, we'll welcome someone who actually knows what they're talking about when it comes to this the hockey, not Justin's problems. Phantom's assistant coach, Brandon Godkin. So keep it here with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Welcome back to the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of Phantoms Hockey, Western Reserve Radio. For this edition of Phantom Files, we welcome back someone who is rounding out his 3rd season behind the Phantoms bench. We are talking about assistant coach and proud papa, Brandon Godkin. It's good to have you back, bud.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
So since the last time we talked to you, how's dad life going?
It's good. It's busy. Not as busy as my wife is, so God bless her. It's been good. It's been one of the best things in my life, obviously. And you know, I'm always talking to people in the hockey world and my family. Like last year was. It's going to be a tough year to beat. Obviously, winning the Clark Cup and the birth of my daughter. So everything is great right now.
So how old is she now?
She is going to be 14 months pretty soon here.
I was going to say, I remember the Clark Cup pictures with you and your wife and, you know, your daughter. She was pretty tiny then. So
yeah, she was super young. So now she's getting close to walking and everything, and all of the the talking and the sounds and stuff are starting to come out. So it's pretty exciting around our house right now.
So are you letting like any of the boys babysit her, or they always say that's really good birth control is to have a teenager take care of a newborn for a day.
I believe that for sure. No, I have not gotten around to having any of the guys watch her, and hopefully I don't need to get to that point.
But yeah, definitely congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I've got 3. Dan's got 2. Justin, there's no evidence of how many, so we'll leave it at that. But
I like it. Find another.
Yeah, but I've got 3 boys. Dan's got 2 boys, so we have like no shared life experience we could like give you right now. So
yeah, I was gonna say I got a little bit different situation.
Yeah. So this 3-game series with Madison, like we talked about earlier in the show, just like starting out with some lows, ending on some highs. What do you feel like the guys learned coming out of this playoff series, especially the guys that this is their first playoff experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's obviously a lot to take from that series. There was a ton, even just kind of talking as a staff as the season was going, and knowing your group. Obviously, we're a little bit younger this year in terms of experience in the league, and for us, it was a thing where well, maybe we should play in the first round and get that experience and have those moments of adversity and all that stuff. Where last year we had a little bit more of a mature team and experience wise, where they kind of, didn't need that, if that makes sense. But there was a lot to take from it. I thought obviously it was a fantastic series with Madison, and there was ups and downs and just getting through that. And then obviously, 2 elimination games, and that's something that us as a staff that we've never faced. And the guys obviously did a fantastic job, and probably didn't want to go in the hole 2-0 in game 2, but coming back and just the way they kind of kicked the door down was fantastic. And then even last night it was a couple started really hot and then kind of leveled out there for a little bit in the second, and Madison came in the third and really cut into our lead and just kind of trading blows there. So I thought there was a lot of good experience, through this whole series, just, taking it shift by shift. Don't be too high and don't be too low. And that's invaluable stuff, especially with this group. And, obviously they're just, really believing in themselves in terms of, what it takes to win a series and end somebody's season and all that good stuff. So, we're grateful for that.
Now, going back to game 3, I mean, especially that third period, because, we had talked about earlier, when you have a team on the brink of elimination, they have 20 minutes to try to get back into it. That's not like a desperation that you can simulate in practice. I mean, how big was that for the guys? I mean, it's like you said, it was blow for blow. It was back and forth. But, in the end, they were able to maintain. But, the guys just kind of weathering that storm, especially, early there in the third period when, Madison gets those 2 early goals to bring it to within 1.
Yeah, big time. I mean, even going back to our last series with Madison where we blew that 2-goal lead with, 50 seconds left. I think obviously as much as we tell them and we talk about it and our leaders do a good job of talking about flushing it, it's in the back of your head, right? It's just human nature. And I thought, before playoffs, we did a good job closing out teams and doing that good stuff. But like you said, they're a desperate group and, just kind of staying calm. And obviously we had some really timely goal scoring in the third period. And I think that's super valuable. Obviously to close that out in the fashion that they did, it's going to be a big confidence booster, going into Saturday night on the road for our first game in round 2.
Now you talk about, gaining experience and everything else, Adam Patilla with a hat trick on, in game 2, then you get into game 3 and basically all of the goals scored in that game are scored by more of like the role players, not like your Botterolls, your Patillas, your Lewises, getting a lot of maybe like that, what you would call secondary scoring, I guess. Where you have those guys doing what they did and stepping up and maybe gaining that confidence. And then at the same time, just over the entirety of these 3 games where, your blue liners are putting up, 5 goals, 6 assists, I think, just coming from the blue line over these 3 games.
Yeah, I would like to tell you that we drew it up that way, but I mean, credit to those guys. Like the perceived secondary scoring guys are kids that are going to be, top line talent in a year or 2 for us. And I don't want to keep talking about last year, but last year we had a ton of depth scoring, and usually in these playoff series, that's kind of the difference maker is that depth. The top 6 in our league is obviously tremendous and it could be a difference, but it was really nice to see Patilla kind of get back on the score sheet in that fashion, just kind of being snake bitten a little bit the last couple of games. And then obviously Ryan, he's just a kid that every night you're getting his best effort, and he's a really talented kid and somebody that we're super, super excited about, not only right now, but in the future. And it was great to see him have that game last night. And our D-core is one of the best in the league. They're super talented, a ton of playmakers. So, obviously just hearing you say those numbers, it's not super surprising, but obviously it's a little bit easier to win games when the back end's obviously doing a good job defending and contributing offensively.
Now, Ryan's his third goal in Game 3. He was out there on a line with Lewis, and I believe it was Botterill. Was that by design, or was that just like an incomplete change?
Just an incomplete change.
Okay.
Yeah. But obviously the shift leading up to that, there was a lot of good stuff happening, and it was just, right time, right place, and a couple good efforts. And, I think Ryan obviously had a little bit of the sniffers going on there, trying to get his third.
So you're saying you didn't draw it up for him to end up with a hat trick?
No. We wanted to get in there, but it was not anything that Wardo conjured up.
Okay. All right. So looking ahead to the future, and as we're talking to you now, you guys are already in Dubuque. So games 1 and 2 this Saturday and Sunday, with the Fighting Saints, a team we only played 4 times this season, only went 1 and 3 against them. So how are you? Because we talk about all the the regular season is the regular season. The playoffs are it's a completely different animal. So what are you looking at from the guys as far as this upcoming series with Dubuque?
It's about us. It's about our start on Saturday. It's about taking this momentum from this Madison series and applying pressure to Dubuque. And they've had a week. Obviously having done it last year in their shoes, it's tough to sit there for a week and watch teams play. And we, obviously have the engine started. So I think there's a little bit of an advantage there in terms of that. And I think it's just about our process. Obviously, Dubuque's a very talented team. They're good on their special teams. They have good goaltending. Seeing them 4 times this year, we're, familiar enough of what they're about. So yeah, it's just about us and our process and what we're, trying to gear up to do.
Both of these series, Madison and Dubuque, it's a extremely quick turnaround. Now, one's a 3-3 game series. The other one, at least you play 2 games and come back home. But is there anything different in preparation you do for something like this, or?
Yeah, we are so lucky to have the ownership and Bruce and Murray and a fantastic president and Andrew, where they enable us to do stuff that most teams don't do in our league. And that's, travel and eat really well and take care of the guys. And Amber and Tommy are with us, and recovery is a big thing right now. And honestly, it's just rest. Tomorrow we're going to let the guys sleep in. We're going to go skate, have a good couple meals, and they're just going to be, locked in. It's like a normal weekend. And in the Madison stuff we enjoyed last night, and we flushed it now, and it's just kind of just preparing for these next 2 games here in Dubuque. And we're really excited to get back to Cavelli.
When we talked after last season was over, when we talked to Coach Warden, he had said going into that Fargo series last year, it wasn't so much you guys were watching, tape on Fargo, way more focused on, your previous games with Chicago and everything like that, looking what you guys did right and did wrong. Is that something you guys do every series, or was that just kind of something special for that Fargo series last year?
Yeah, I think last year, I think that the challenge was the timing of it, in terms of going all the way up to Fargo and obviously ending with Chicago, and not having being that familiar with Fargo and not having that cross. We're here, we've played Dubuque. We kind of know what they're about. They've played a pretty similar style the last 2 years with their coaching staff. So there's obviously some stuff that we're going to look at with our series in Madison and learn from. And there's stuff that we have to be prepared for and ready with, Dubuque. But like I said, it's about us and our guys and how we play the game and how we're going to dictate the game ultimately.
So having to play 3-3, how's Aiden holding up?
He's good. Neil Conway, our goaltending coach, is also with us, and just managing him and his rest. And, I thought collectively those 3 games, obviously it's tough to play. It's mentally exhausting and all that stuff. But for us, the shot totals were not that crazy where it wasn't unmanageable. So, he's done it, and he's played a ton of games in the North American League. And right now, just traveling up here to Dubuque, he's excited. He's in good spirits, and he'll be ready to go.
So is he getting like the special treatment? He's getting the comfy mattress on the bus and the guys are like carrying the bags for him and everything, or
he's not that type of kid.
Okay.
But no, yeah, he's just, obviously, like I said, tomorrow we're going to have a practice and I think we're just going to taper his reps off a little bit though.
All right. So, of course, games 1 and 2 in Dubuque coming up Saturday and Sunday. And then you guys are coming right back to Youngstown for game 3 on Tuesday night. So if you want to put your salesman hat on a little bit, talk to the fans that'll be listening in on this. Maybe, people don't know if they're coming on Tuesday or not. Give a little bit of a sales job here to get people at Cavelli Center on Tuesday.
It'll be a very fun series. It's going to be a very passionate series. It'll be a hard-fought series. 2 teams that can get up and down the sheet. 2 teams that have history. It'll be really exciting hockey. I think Madison series was a good series, but there was a little bit of that old school style was missing, and we anticipate that to be a little bit more of a flavor with this Dubuque series. And obviously 3-game set's a little bit different than a 5-game set. So our guys are super excited. Us as a staff, we're super excited. And, I think just getting back to Cavelli's is awesome. There's no better place to play in the league. And even with just hosting that first round game, like you guys know, you were there, and it was like super loud where you had to kind of like look like how many people are here right now. So it's awesome. You guys are the best. All the fans and all the support, like it really matters to us, and we notice it and we feed off of it. And it's definitely a difference maker for us.
All right. So we have been talking to Phantoms assistant coach Brandon Godkin. Coach, thanks for coming back on the show, especially on very short notice. I appreciate you coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I just want to thank you guys for your support. And let's just keep this thing going here.
All right. Enjoy the corn out there in Dubuque.
I will.
All right. So we're going to step aside for a commercial break. The round 2 games 1 and 2 preview is coming up next with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is the Dump and Chase podcast on the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio. Basically, what we're going to be doing in this episode, we're going to be looking at games 1 and 2. We will have more of like a condensed episode coming out Monday morning that'll kind of be recapping these games and then, looking ahead to the Phantoms coming back to the Cavelli Center. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show, as far as the other round 2 matchups in the league, Of course, again, Lincoln and Sioux City, those games will be Friday and Saturday night. And then Tri-City and Fargo and Green Bay and Muskegon, as well as Youngstown and Dubuque, all of those games will be Saturday, Sunday. So as far as Youngstown and Dubuque, these teams played each other 4 times in the regular season. Youngstown only 1-3 against Dubuque this season. These teams played in Dubuque back on November 10th and 11th. The Phantoms winning the first game 5-4 in a shootout, and then losing the second game 4-1. And then Dubuque coming to Youngstown March 1st and 2nd. Youngstown losing both of those games by scores of 6-4 and 3-0. We really won't get too heavy in any type of analysis because I think Coach Gott can pretty much handle that for us. So appreciate that. Really not much sense for us to follow up on anything he said, at least in an intelligent way. So yeah, and it's just going to, and like you said, it's just going to boil down to, Phantoms are going to have to stay out of the penalty box.
Yeah.
Dubuque's power play is lethal. Now Youngstown, in 4 games, Dubuque was only 3 for 20 on the power play. So that put Youngstown's penalty kill at 85%. But I really don't like the number 20 there as far as power play opportunities that they had in just 4 games.
Well, I mean, fortunately, the playoffs, the refs aren't inclined to call a lot of penalties.
Which a lot of people at the Cavelli Center learned the hard way in these past few days.
Yeah. Beyond that, I think it's just attention to details. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to mind your P's and Q's, all those cliches. But yeah, if we can focus on, just the minor details, I think we stand a good chance of at least stealing 1 game out of there, which puts us in a very good place.
And Justin, as our resident team historian, you certainly know there's definitely a history here between Youngstown and Dubuque in the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Annis was robbed. Matt will get that.
Some of the old heads will get that joke, but
these teams have played their hearts out in past years against each other. I don't expect anything different here.
Dubuque's a very high octane offensive team. They scored the 2nd most goals in the league. Fargo only had 1 more goal than they had. Otherwise, they'd have been the most. They also don't give up a ton of goals either. And I think one of the main reasons they don't give up a lot of goals is they got a 6'6" goalie standing there in Kevin Riedler. That dude, without moving, takes up like 80% of the net just standing still in there. But
and unlike other large goalies in the league, he has the mechanics to make it work.
Right. And the Phantoms were able to put some pucks behind him in the back of the net during the regular season. But the biggest thing is, Phantoms gave up some goals to Madison. Dubuque has Noah Powell, who really kicked it in the second half of the year. He's leading the team. He's got 43 goals, 31 assists. And Eric Paulson, their second guy, he's got 28 goals, 72 points altogether. Dubuque, they're a team that has scoring on almost every single line. So there's no letting off the gas. There's no, top line's out. We can put the matchup in. Dubuque has a lot of talent offensively on this team.
I mean, if you want to look at it as far as a comparison, Madison was a team, Youngstown almost average, like just short of averaging 6 goals a game, like 5.66 goals per game against Madison. And this is a Madison team that was giving up less than 4.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, nope, sorry. I was looking at the wrong one. 3.1 goals per game. So, I mean, almost, what their average was for the season, Youngstown on average almost doubled that.
Right.
So again, we talk about, and to draw a comparison from last season, we saw this, in the finals with Miles Gunty.
Yeah.
Miles was coming back from an injury, wasn't doing a lot of goal scoring per se. In those last games of the regular season or the playoffs, but you get to the finals and he scores 2 big goals in Fargo, and that's what it's going to be. And hopefully, maybe, some of these role player guys, these guys that that didn't get a ton of goals during the regular season, that they picked up some confidence that, hey, this is the playoffs and we can do this too.
Yeah, I agree that they're going to need some secondary scoring again in this series. And as your point, Sam, I hope that when they did it against Madison, like you said, they'll do it again this series.
And kind of on the flip side, as Dan mentioned, this is a stacked offensively team. I think all hands on deck defensively. I want to see what a lot of these guys can do in their own zone.
The Phantoms will be without, was without Sasha Bamidi in the Madison series, will be without him in this upcoming series for a tournament of some description that he is participating in that nobody can seem to get any information on.
I was not expecting to see him on a scratch report at all for that when we got to the game.
I hope they're checking up with him and everything, that he actually went to a tournament and
he's not being held hostage somewhere.
Isn't like locked away in a hot box in northern Uganda or something like that.
No, so as you pointed out, last year was Celebrini for Chicago that was at this tournament. That was the big loss. So, I mean, we have to suck it up and hope we can make it through and welcome him back for the conference finals.
If we make it to that point, knock on wood.
Yeah. I didn't want to mention that part.
Yeah. Alrighty, so the games this weekend, the game on Saturday, the puck drop will be 8:05 local time, and the game on Sunday will be a 6:05 puck drop, again, local time here. Of course, the games will be available on Flow Sports. The last I heard, Western Reserve Radio is working on getting access to Dubuque's game audio so that they'll be able to stream it on Western Reserve Radio. So make sure you're checking out their social media for updates. And then, of course, the watch parties at the golf simulators at Kensington Golf Club in Canfield. Those will be going on this weekend for sure. But as always, Western Reserve Radio, Youngstown Phantoms, make sure you're keeping up with their social media for information about what's going to be going on in the next couple of days. So at that point, that's about all we have. We're going to step aside one more time. And when we come back, we'll wrap up this episode and look ahead to the next one. So keep it here one more time with the Dump and Chase podcast on Western Reserve Radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We're back, and that will do it for this edition of the Dump and Chase podcast. A big thanks to Phantoms assistant coach Brandon Godkin for joining us for this episode. And as always, a big thanks to all of you for tuning in. So as far as our next episode, again, we'll be releasing an episode on Monday morning, hopefully before noon. That'll be recapping games 1 and 2 in Dubuque. And then, of course, we'll be looking ahead to game 3 at Covelli Center on Tuesday and whatever may or may not come after that. I guess we'll find out by then. So this episode, if you're listening on the podcast, you will also be able to hear it streaming on Friday on Western Reserve Radio at 5 p.m. on westernreserveradio.com, the Live 365 or TuneIn apps, the Western Reserve Radio Facebook and Twitter pages, and the Youngstown Phantoms Facebook page. Now, if you are listening to this on Western Reserve Radio, you can hear this show in its podcast format on Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can find all of us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so make sure to follow us there. And all of these links can be found on the official site of the website of the show. That is dumpandchasepod.com. So before we get out of here, to my co-hosts, Dan Conley and Justin Irwin, any final words of wisdom?
No, just a PSA to all fans that when it gets humid in the Covelli Center, be aware when you're going down the stairs, as my son found out. Slipped on the very last stair, ranch went flying, didn't get covered in it, but I told him As Woody told Buzz Lightyear, he's not flying, he's flying with style. And that's what he did.
I want to know what he was doing going down the stairs with a full ranch cup. Was it just too spicy for him, or what happened?
Why is it spicy? I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I just want to get a nice nap and hopefully no extremely painful bowel movements.
And on that note, as we wrap up, remember that hockey is a sport played on ice with sticks and a puck, and our podcast is a thing you just listened to. See ya.
Justin, I hope you can get through the metal detector on Tuesday. It's going to go off. You're going to be like, guys, you're not going to believe this story.
There's stainless steel that... It's fine.
Sir, do you have a piercing inside me?
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
And Jonathan Von Tobel.
All right, let's have some fun. VSiN Primetime presented by DraftKings. I'm Joe Serralo. That's Jared Smith. We're here live with you for the next 3 hours from the Circa Sportsbook. Jared, we've got a busy day. We are less than a week away from the NFL draft. The draft movement never ending in the final days leading up to the first round. We've got NBA winner-go-home action, 2 games tonight, each conference vying for the 8 seed here. We've got a full baseball slate, and we've got 2 hosts right here who love to give out baseball winners, pitcher props. We'll get to all of it. Great guest lineup. Jared, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. The draft really is starting to formulate a big chunk of my brain. It's really starting to take up the headspace. The NBA, somehow, some way, I've ignored the NBA more this year than any other season that I've done this. And I'm 4 for 4 in the playoffs so far. It's like a hot crap dice. You know, you got to keep rolling until you crap out. We'll see tonight. I got a couple picks for you. Actually, I have 2 picks in the first game and then a late prop. And really, you're right. The baseball stuff, Joe, to me, that's where my heart is every day. We had our first inning pitches prop earlier today. AJ Puke vomiting all over the mound in the first inning. That was fun, but yeah, we'll have some fun tonight. A lot of baseball, a lot of NFL, and of course the NBA center stage.
It's always a good day when we start by making some money. You hit your puke prop.
Yeah.
I hit the Cubs money line yesterday.
Nice.
Gave out the over 7.5. Then the game got rained out today. That number went up to 9.5. I believe it still went over, but I said just give me the Cubs on the money.